A very beautiful morning, beautiful afternoon, and beautiful evening to every one of you, my professional nurses, my professional colleagues. How we are doing? How was preparation for our OSCE exam? Guys, you're definitely going to be successful. And like I keep saying in my video, OSCE exam is really very simple. So calm your nerves down, go do your exams, and I'll be more than happy to congratulate you. So if you're meeting me for the very first time, my name is Violet Okolocha. I actually talk about everything about OSCE and nursing here in the UK. So if this is what you love, if this is what you like, sit back and watch to the end. And don't forget to like my videos. Don't forget to comment and share with your friends who are preparing for OSCE exam. So guys, before I start doing this video today, I actually want to give a special apology to those taking the old test of competency, because I started a series on self-study with me. So I did the one study, I did the two study. I couldn't upload the two study. I have tried all I could. Guys, you won't believe this. The day two study video is over 59 minutes. I have asked my son to help me. He's tried and it's not working. I don't know what else to do. And you know, when you give over 59 minutes of your time to do a video and it's not successful, it's actually demoralizes you. To be honest, it did demoralize me. And if you watch for over 3 weeks, you see that I've just been focusing on the new test of competency, I want to appreciate those who kept on sending me message and saying, please, okay, if you've lost the video, can we just go ahead and plan for the patients, or the patients we did an assessment for? So, and thank you for your encouragement. It did help, actually, it did help. And on Monday I didn't get any messages. I was like, the people not take us exam on Monday. So on Tuesday, guys, the messages I got today so encouraged me. I just applied the cap on my hair, rock powder, and I came. I said, let me do a video on day two. You know why I was so encouraged? If you look at it, I'm doing this video at night. A lot of people encouraged me today. I got 12 messages. Of the 12 messages I got, all are on the old test of competency, and one of them sent me these messages on my latest video, which is tips for newly qualified nurses, and I pinned the message. Out of the 12 I got, I appreciate all the messages, but let me just read two just to encourage us, because those two messages actually encouraged me. Those 12 messages, I mean to say, actually encouraged me, that made me stood up and did and said, okay, let me start the two, let me start back. And one of them said this. She said, thank you, Violet, my sister. I just passed our OSCE at first attempt. I got most in assessment, and if not that what came across your most video, I would have been disaster. This is because none of the lectures I engaged in prepped me for that most the way your video did, and none called my attention to what was written behind the more score chart. Your videos helped us a whole lot and made OSCE easy for us. Someone even started saying, I now talk like Violet Okolocha because of how I imbibe what I saw in your videos. God bless and reward you greatly in Jesus' name. Amen. The second one said, this one I pinned it. This one sent it on the YouTube channel. If you look at my latest video, you see it, I pinned it. The second one said, this one was in my private email. I have never commented or liked any of your video, not because they are not perfect, but because I'm not the kind of person who comments on video. But Nurse Violet, I prepared only with your videos for OSCE exam. Not only did I talk like you, I did all you did, the way you talked. And I'm glad to say to you, my result came out and I passed at first attempt. Thank you so much for all you do. And please keep up with the good works. My new cohorts are waiting for the day two self-study with me. God bless you. Oh, sorry, I'm not supposed to say that. All right, so these 12 messages I got today really encouraged me. I was so encouraged. Immediately I was just reading them step by step when I woke up. And I said, no way. I'm not giving up. Even though I lost that 59 minutes video, I tried to upload it. It was uploading in 3 minutes, 8 minutes, and I had to take it down. I'm going to start afresh. And thanks for the person who sent me an email and said, let's talk about planning. Since we've all done day one, and everything we did on day one self-study with me was on assessment. And I said, check out all my assessment videos as well to help you understand it. So a lot of people have been asking for more care plan. So I'm going to be talking about planning today. So planning is just 15 minutes in your whole test of competency, and this is what you get. All right, guys, are we following? You get the patient details, the patient name, the patient date of birth, hospital number. The next thing you get is your nursing problem / need. You get your reevaluation date. You get the care provided by nurses. You get the self-care activities, patient self-care activities. So like I always advise, when you receive your planning document, sign first. You understand? Sign first. So today we are going to be planning for what? For most. So generally for your assessment, you have news. And for news is all about chest infection like asthma, preoperative cases, ectopic pregnancy, or the preoperative cases, iguna ania, or they ask you to plan for post-operative cases, or you get cardiac cases. That's all about news. We're going to be doing planning for news maybe tomorrow or this week. Let me not promise, because since I'm not fulfilling my promise effectively. And so for GCS, I have a video on planning for GCS. I'm going to pop the link here so that we can see it. I've planned for GCS already. For PHQ9, I have a planning for PHQ9. I'm going to pop the link here so that we can see it. So today we're going to be talking about planning forward for most. So for most care plan, I usually say plan with your most score. If you watch my PHQ9 planning video, I tell you plan with your PHQ9 score. So that's the same thing I will say for most. But planning is very simple. Planning here in the UK, you don't have to evidence it. You don't have to speak plenty English. But those who are professors, they don't say, please speak your English. But simple terms. Planning here in the UK is very simple. Now I will give you a case scenario and I will give you an assignment before I plan for most. So in this most today, because of time, I'll be planning one care plan for most, and I will ask you to plan the rest, and I'll tell you what I expect you to plan for. This is the scenario I gave to my students. I actually do an OSCE class. If you are interested, you can join, but it's actually for a token. So, and I sent this to my students. I said, Mrs. Victoria, most and PHQ9 is in the community. Don't forget, most and PHQ9 is always in the community. So the patients don't wear wristband. Why news and GCS is always in the world hospital setting. So the patient is definitely going to wear wristband for news and GCS. So this is the care plan. This is the scenario I give to my patient. Mrs. Ellie Brooks is in the community care home due to loss of appetite, pains, and not eating or drinking enough. Patient states she has lost around 5% of body weight. Patient is a chronic smoker who smoked 10 sticks of cigarette. Patient is known to have osteoarthritis and mobilizes with her Zimmer frame, and she mobilizes with pain. She has a past medical history of diabetes, hip replacement, and hypertension. Patient live alone in a matronate. So I told my students, after assessing your patient, now give me 2 care plan. One of them wrote, Mrs. Victoria is experiencing loss of appetite, evidenced by losing 5% of her body weight. Very correct. And our second care plan was Mrs. Ellie is experiencing pain with a pain score of 8/10 due to osteoarthritis. Now, with this case scenario I wrote, what will be your care plan? For me, I can pick 3 care plan from this scenario. Number 1, I can pick the patient most score. So that is what I advise. So give me care plans for this. I will give you mine now. So my own care plan is, let me assume your patient is having a MOS score of 1. If your patient is having a MOS score of 1, from the MOS chart, a MOS score of 1 is what? Medium risk malnutrition, right? Why a MOS score of 2 is high risk malnutrition. So I usually like planning with my MOS score. So let's assume this Mrs. Haley is having a MOS score of 1. So my care plan is going to be, Mrs. Haley is having medium risk malnutrition with a MOS score of 1. Or Mrs. Ellie is experiencing medium risk malnutrition with a MOS score of 1. What if it's a MOS score of 2? Mrs. Ellie is experiencing what? High risk malnutrition with a MOS score of 2. Simple. And after giving your MOS score, the next thing you want to do is what? Your aim of care. For most cases, for most, this case I've given you, for most, the aim of care is what? To improve nutritional intake. So you can say Mrs. Ailey is going to verbalize improve nutritional intake, or aim of care to promote what? Or aim of care to increase or improve Mrs. Ailey's nutritional intake. Tick. Both of them are what? They are all correct. Now, what is your reevaluation date for community setting, either in the care home, any community setting? To be reevaluated today, you write today's date. And somebody will say, how can you reevaluate today? Yes, because we have community district nurses. So to be reevaluated what? Today, weekly, and or as the clinical condition changes. So generally for community setting, if you write weekly, you're correct. If you write monthly, you are what? You're correct. So for community setting like PHQ9, for community setting like MOS, to be evaluated today, you write today's date, weekly, comma, and or as the clinical condition changes. Tick. Perfect. And you've given what? You've given your aim of care. You've given your what? Reevaluation. So now, what is the care provided by what? By nurses for these patients. My number one care is what? Use Imatarid. Like I keep saying, Imatarid makes your care plan very, very simple. Explain and discuss all aspects of care to Mrs. Ailey and gain what? And gain consent. What about M? Monitor and record Ailey's observation, weights, blood glucose, food charts, intake and output charts. Tick and escalate if need be. I come again. Monitor and record Mrs. Ailey's observation, weights, food charts, fluid charts, which is intake and output charts, and and blood glucose, and escalate if need be. Tick. Your assessor is going to be like, oh my word. And the next one is what? A. What are you assessing? Assess Mrs. Ailey for any sign of what? Of malnutrition, e.g. loose ring, loose band, apathy, muscle wasting. Tick. Loose ring. Assess Mrs. Ailey for any sign of what? Malnutrition. Is a loose ring, loose clothing, loose band, apathy, muscle wasting. The next one is what? Is T. Teach Mrs. Ailey the importance of adequate diet to our what? To our health. Or teach Mrs. Ailey to eat small amount of feed at what? At regular interval. Tick. The next one is what? A. Administer or prescribe medication and monitor its effectiveness after what? After 30 minutes. Tick. And the next one is what? Refer Mrs. Ailey to what? To the dietitian. And the next one is what? I. Inform Mrs. Ailey to what? To use the callback. And D is document all care as what? As planned. Tick. Now, what will be your self-care activities? Now, self-care activities is very simple. I can give you 8. But in your OSCE exam, if you write 5, you're good to go. If you write 3, you're good to go. So now we said for the first care provided by the nurses, we said explain and discuss all aspects of care to the patient. I will give you 2 self-care activities from just that. Number 1, Mrs. Ailey verbalize understanding of a plan of care. 1. 2, Mrs. Ailey consent to what? To treatments. Only for that explain I've given you. Then we said monitor and record Mrs. Ailey's observation, weight, blood glucose, food chart, food intake and output chart. We can say Mrs. Ailey understands the most to used. The next one we said assess Mrs. Ailey for any sign of what? Of malnutrition. E.g. we said apathy, we said muscle wasting, we said this. So, and that is why we said Mrs. Ailey understand the most to use. The next thing we say, teach Mrs. Ailey. What did we say we should teach her? To teach Mrs. Ailey the importance of adequate health to her diet, to the importance of adequate diet, to her health. Teach Mrs. Ailey the importance of or to eat small amounts of feed at regular interval, or you can even place her on red tray system. So now what will now be the self-care activity? Mrs. Ailey understood the health education given. Sick. Another thing we said we should do what? We said administer all medication and monitor its effect. So we said the self-care activity should be Mrs. Ailey tolerate all medications what? Administered. Refer Mrs. Ailey to dietitian. Mrs. Ailey understands reason for what? For referral. Mrs. Ailey participates in a plan of care. Mrs. Ailey is able to use the callback. tick. So you see, most is very, very what? Simple. If you have any queries at all, you don't understand anything, please feel free to send your queries to me. I'm more than happy, to what? To reply you. Another care plan from the scenario I wrote is Mrs. Haley is at risk for fall. Why is she at risk for fall? Due to osteoarthritis and due to rib replacement. So plan for risk for fall for me and send to me via YouTube. I'm happy to mark. Another one is Mrs. Haley is at risk. Sorry, Mrs. Haley is having pains. Because they said what? She's having pain when mobilizing. And when you're doing an assessment, you ask her if you're using the pain score of 0 being the list and 10 media, what's your pain score? Maybe she tells you 7. So Mrs. Ellie is having pain with a pain score of 7/10 due to maybe osteoarthritis or due to what? Hip replacement. So you see, 3 care plans. So let's assume you want to plan for pain. Give it and drop it in the comment section and I'll be happy to mark. What about if you want to plan for risks for fall? Also correct. So guys, thank you very much. I hope you understand the care plan I've given for a most patient. So any of those you use, either you use the patient Moscow, you are correct. Either you decide to use your own, you are correct. So from the scenario I've given to you, give me 2 care plans. I'll be more than happy to mark. So it's always good to use the patient Moscow to plan. You don't have to crack your head. The patient's having a Moscow of 1, the patient's having a Moscow of 2. Mrs. A is having a medium risk malnutrition with a Moscow of 1, is having high risk malnutrition with a Moscow of 2. So I'll drop all my planning session, all the planning I've done in this video. I will see you in my next video. And until then, keep passing your OSCE exam. I love you all, guys. Bye.